Hi, I'm Ms. Wong. Let's solve some quadratic equation application types of questions. Example 1. The length of a rectangle is 3 centimeters longer than its width. It has an area of 28 centimeters squared. Find the side lengths of the rectangle. So the first step is to draw a rectangle. Now we read again, the length is 3 longer than the width. So let me call the width x. So the length will be 3 longer would be x plus 3. Now the area is 28 centimeters squared. And I know the area of a rectangle is length times width. So I'm going to write that information down. So now length times width. So we multiply x times x plus 3 and it should give us the area which is 28. So that is the first equation you should come up with. Now to solve for this, I have to use the null factor law and I have to have a 0 on one side. So I'm going to expand and move everything to the left. So x times x is x squared, x times 3 is 3x, and then now we have 28. And then subtracting 28 from both sides, we get x squared plus 3x minus 28 equals 0. Now we can use the null factor law because it's got a 0. And now we factorize. So two numbers that multiply to be 28 and add to be 3. What are those two numbers? It is minus 4 and 7. Double check. Minus 4 times 7 is minus 28 and 7 minus 4 is 3. So now x minus 4 is 0, which means x is 4, and x plus 7 is 0, which means x is negative 7. But we know that the length has to be greater than 0, so it can't be negative 7. And you have to state this in your solution. So you write this by saying x is greater than 0, therefore x has to be equal to 4. And so if x is equal to 4, have we answered the question? Let's double check. It says, find the side lengths of the rectangle. Now the width is 4, we still have to find what the length is. So sub that in, 4 plus 3, it's equal to 7. And now we write our answer in a full sentence. The length of the rectangle is 7 centimeters and its width is 4 centimeters. Let's try another example. Example 2. The formula for the number d of diagonals of a polygon with n side is d equals n over 2 n minus 3. How many sides are in a polygon with 35 diagonals? Now 35 diagonals, is that d or n? That's d, so I'm going to write that down. And it's asking for number of sides, so n. So I'm going to write the equation down and I'm going to substitute d as 35 and now we solve for n. So to solve that, we have to move everything to one side and let it equal to 0. First step, we bring the 2 over this side, so we have 70, and we expand. So bringing 2 to this side, we have 70. When we expand, we have n times n is n squared, minus 3 times n is minus 3n. And now bring the 70 to the other side, we have n squared minus 3n minus 70. Now we factorize. Think of two numbers that multiply to give you negative 70 and add up to minus 3. I'm thinking 7 times 10. Because I want negative 3, I'm going to make the 10 negative. So now I have n minus 10 and n plus 7. And when you solve for that, we get n is 10 or n is negative 7. If you've forgotten how to do any of these steps, click on the little I and it'll take you to those videos. So now we have that, we have to check the question, what's it asking for? How many sides are there? So we need a positive value. Again, write down, since n has to be greater than 0, then n is equal to 10. And write the sentence, the polygon has 10 sides. Example 3. A rectangular pool is 18 meters long and 12 meters broad. The pool is surrounded by a path of width x. The area of the path is equal to the area of the pool. Find x. Let's break this down. There's a lot of steps here. So rectangular pool, so let's draw a rectangular pool. You can just draw a simple rectangle. It has measurements of 18 and 12 meters. So 18 the longer side, and then I'm going to label 12 as the shorter side. The pool is surrounded by a path of width x. So I'm going to draw a path around it and I'm going to label x as its width. I'm going to label in multiple places so I don't forget. The area of the path is equal to the area of the pool. And the area of the pool is pretty easy. I can just multiply the 12 times 8. That gives me 216 on a calculator. Now the two areas are the same, so I have to work out the area of the footpath. I'm going to break it down into little pieces. So I'm going to cut it into all those pieces over there. Now I can see that this area here, this rectangle here, is 12 times that side, which is x, so it's 12x. And I can see that this rectangle here is 18 times x, or 18x. And I know that the four corners, well, it's x times x, which is x squared. So the grey area, the path, is equal to 2 times 12x plus 2 times 18x and 4 of these corners. You can, if you want to, write x squared plus 12x plus x squared plus 18x plus x squared plus 12x plus x squared plus 18x, as in go around. It's up to you, as long as you get to the same values. So simplifying that, so multiplying that by 2, 2 times 12 is 24, 2 times 18 is 36, and 4x squared. And then we know that that's equal to 216. Now 24x plus 36x, collect the like terms, it's 60x. Now to work that out, we have to make everything equal to 0. So bring the 216 to that side, becomes negative 216. We can see there's a highest common factor here, and the common factor is 4. So dividing everything by 4, we have minus 54 plus 15x plus x squared. Now we can factorize. We can think of what numbers multiply to give us negative 54 and what numbers give us add up to 15. So 54 is 6 times 9, but 6 and 9 cannot give us 15 because one of them has to be negative because we want negative 54. So we have to try something else. What about 3 times 18? Well, if I make the 3 negative, then 18 minus 3 does give us 15. And minus 3 times 18 does give us minus 54. So we're going to use negative 3 and 18. So x minus 3 and x plus 18. So in other words, x is equal to 3 or negative 18. But since we're measuring, x has to be greater than 0. So x is equal to 3. Have we answered the question? It says find x. Yes, we have answered the question. So the width of the path is 3 meters. Example 4. This one's quite tricky. The three sides of a right angle triangle form 3 consecutive even numbers. Find the lengths of the three sides measured in centimeters. So let's break this down. So we're drawing a right angle triangle and there are 3 consecutive even numbers. So consecutive even numbers means 2, 4, 6, or 6, 8, 10, or 10, 12. So what's the difference between them? If the first number is x, the next number will be x plus 2. And the next number will be, adding 2 again, x plus 4. So we have the sides x, x plus 2, and x plus 4. And we know that this is going to be the shorter side, x, and the longer side is x plus 4. The longer side of a right angle triangle is the hypotenuse. So x plus 4 is the hypotenuse. And we have x as the shortest side and x plus 2 as the middle length side. We haven't been given perimeter or area, so how can we work this out? Well, it's a right angle triangle, and we know from Pythagoras' theorem that c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Well, in other words, this is c, x plus 4 squared equals 2, x plus 2 squared plus x squared. So now we can expand and move everything to one side to let it equal to 0 and work out what x is. So let's do this. Expand that. We have x squared plus 2 times 4 is 8 times x is 8x plus 4 squared is 16 equals, expand that, x squared plus 2 times 2 is 4 times x is 4x plus 2 squared is 4. And don't lose that x squared over there. Now the fun part, moving everything to the left side. So we can see there's 1x squared, 2x squared, they cancel, but we're left with 1x squared on that side. Moving that to the left side becomes negative x squared. Next, there's 8x and 4x over there. Subtracting 4x from both sides, we have 4x on this side. Then we have 16 and 4. So subtracting 4 on both sides, we get 16 minus 4 is 12, and it equals 0. So now we can factorize this. So we can use the cross method where we have minus x and x on the left side, and two numbers that multiply to be 12 could be, let's say, 3 times 4, but 3 and 4 does not give us 4, so not those two. Let's try 2 and 6. Minus 6 plus 2 is not correct. It's -4. So let's switch them around. 6 and -2 would give us 4. So bracket that off. We have minus x plus 6 and x plus 2 equals 0. So x equals 6 or x equals -2. What was the question? Find the lengths of the three sides. Well, x cannot be -2. It has to be greater than 0. So x is 6. Now, if x is 6, we have x plus 2 is 8 and x plus 4 is 10. So the three sides of our triangle are 6, 8, and 10. So this question is very tricky. You might want to try it again, but definitely practice example 1, 2, 3 until you get them right. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.